I just remember one day my mom taking me out in the backyard and taking almost just like a stick or a hoe and making two parallel scratches in the soil and throwing seeds in. And out sprouted cilantro. And she went out with scissors and cut the cilantro and put it in our food. And I remember marveling at what the seed created. Plants just represent life. Growing plants, it was something I dreamed of doing. When I was in high school, I was in the Begonia and the Fuchsia Society. There was a bunch of gray-haired ladies there, but I loved it. So as I was growing up, we would work with other gardeners from time to time. One of the gardeners told me that he had sprayed so many chemicals in his life that just a little bit of exposure would put him over the edge and he'd get sick. And that always stuck in my head. It's like, why would you sacrifice your body for somebody's azaleas and rhododendrons? Those plants were dependent upon chemicals because in the nursery industry, almost everybody exclusively uses chemical fertilizers, fungicides, and pesticides so the plants grow to their largest potential. The whole industry is set up to sell plants in the container. People buy plants at big box stores, and even though that plant was eye candy, it just didn't work when it was in the ground. I wanted to create an alternative to the status quo. I had been gardening in Sonoma Valley and growing plants since the 70s. So we got a nursery license and we opened to the public. I wanted to have a plant that didn't necessarily grow very fast, but grew well. I created a soil that had compost in it so that my soils would be alive. I've got worms in my cans, microbial growth in my cans. I'm trying to mimic something that's similar to the ground. That's why we don't use any pesticides, any insecticides, or any fungicides. And we find that there's a natural ability of the environment to take care of many of our problems. For example, every nursery has problems with snails. We had an inspector here from the USDA. When I showed him the chickens eating the snails, he said, this is something that every nurseryman in California needs to see. It's part of the family, the synergy that we have at the nursery, which helps us grow plants as well as we do. People that have been here since the beginning. And their ability to be sensitive to plants from such a small, tender state, I find remarkable. Growing plants, it's all about observation. I walk out and these plants talk to me. They tell me if they've had too much water, too little. I'm trying to grow plants that work, plants that you can put in your native conditions, and people tell us our plants grow. Growing plants, it's like a child, watching them and tending them, nurturing them to where they're durable and they can weather the conditions that get thrown at them. And as I tend the ground, I tend myself. My name is Paul Martinez, and I'm the owner of Sonoma Valley Wholesale Nursery.